Look at this here. This very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. This is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description. Oh, Brett noticed. She noticed. Dear me, responding with new powers to come up with a burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly, there's nothing more to do with the magnificent lady handbag. Yes, that is a bird mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner was Zonosa when he was performing the post-mortem examination. A demon related to the cause of death, so he didn't know in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? In no possible way knowing either. The more I look at the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, the prosecution usually points out unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, like me opening up my fucking mini fridge right now, me pointing out how to open it up. Yeah. We're going to grab a sweet tea. That cake is just everywhere. I really want ice cream. God damn it. There we go. I cannot allow any further time to be spent on this precious detail of this burns. Ding! Excuse me, Your Excellency. It was in that Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the lunch appointment with the dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused on the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final rulings anyway. What you thinking, Runescape? Do you believe this Birdman does have something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. You're in a fuck it situation. You're just grasping for air. You're just hoping on me. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging and hoping I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? Ding! If we can just link the burn to the case. If we can do that, we might be able to phrase this shutting door back open again. Run out of voice. Ding! Just give out counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed, I'm afraid that this without evidence, I can't allow you to proceed with this little more than what is a little more than conjunction. But if we have evidence that invariably linked the burn to the victim rest of the case, then you will allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I haven't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between the burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find the evidence that proves what that burn really means. Clack, clack. So the defense will present the evidence of this court. The evidence that discriminated the yeah, this one. Yes. Was this council yet another print? Yes, I can say. I believe the photographic prints are amazing in invention. When we humans look at the scene, we miss things. But in the photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? The inconvenience this poor lady any further would really be quite excusable. Actually, we must meet. Actually, we may need you to stay a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that usual sheet burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. Nevermore. What? How? Objection! You can't film with your little bluffs, boy. If this is your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is this photograph explains the reason for the victim's burn? The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate in this statement is served on. The plate? Ah! Ah! Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnival. Carnival? Ah! This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn. Ooh, nice. Are exactly the same shape! Ah! Ryusuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant. While he was present at the restaurant. Objection! But even if that's the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before or the day before that, more like it happened some other related time. That is literally the stupidest thing ever. Well, objection! Thank you, Kazuma. Sadly, Prosecutor Kenichi, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Yeah, it's like easily you can see the burn. That's what I know is new. Trust me, as a person who's burnt himself on cookie trays, they say for a good time, but not forever, not after a day. Such a serious injury would have quite caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hasegawa? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster. Certainly. But I was looking at the picture of the wound that it wasn't suffered very long ago, and although it's not particularly a large wound, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more expected and can you be more sophistic, Inspector? That is 2 words hard to say back to that. Well, let's see. If the plate was around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim would have to let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I have not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter at Le Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you... I missed that line. There you have it! Something is right here! As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would have screamed in pain. Yes, we would. Especially that kind of burn? Ugh. The aftermath of that might be even be worse than initials. There's no question of that. And yet, Inspector Hudson had never heard the professor scream. Not on that day or any day before. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day when he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out. I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Just guessing. Well, if the professor has carelessly laid his hand on the wrist, Clearly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day. That would have been beyond careless, I think, Council. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antique dealer, all of us would have, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Professor Akushi? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryusuke, do you think? Can it really be true? I never dreamed we'll arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. Almost killed it. There's only one explanation I can think of that would make sense as apparent impossibility. On the day of question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson. No man can remain. No man can remain silent when his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from one peculiar situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already dead? Ooh, she got serious. Knowing what we know now is the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! I like how straight Hazanaga is like standing up. He's very clean on his posture. Something I just noticed about him. Don't worry. So something I just noticed. So I'm going to move this over here, so that way I can see this better. There we go. Order, please! Counsel, explain this asserted notion at once. I kinda just did. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right, that's absolutely right, Your Excellency. That's just another ridiculous point by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts. Objection! No, Professor Gucci, it's you who has no grasp on the facts. Ooh, coming out with the no you Uno card move. Smart. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while in the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Ray knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate the twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you would have forget your Luncheon engagement. But Your Excellency, the justice system in our country may be in an infant stage. Maybe in infancy. Sorry, I added a word there. But rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment. Like a fair judge. Thank you, Your Excellency. Oh, it's been all quiet. What was that smile? Yes, of course. Not, I mean, I mean, I'll be delighted to help, especially if it helps relationships between my country and yours.